small places where the new work gets produced, becomes popular, and then moves on to the big space. Before The Lion King became a mega hit, Julie Taymor intermixed puppets and masks and theatre in smaller places in New York. I did a workshop with her in 1985, and yeah, she was still working in tiny little three-handed productions then, just trying to expand on what people's boundaries were. So my other interest being radio, so of course I'm trying to mix the notion of sound and recorded sound to productions.
How have you personally found acting and directing in your work?
I hate acting. Everyone says I'm really good at it. I just can't be bothered learning lines and doing the same thing every night. I was in a long-running show. It ran for a whole year, and that really cured my bug for acting. It was just like, oh, this. I also don't like being in front of people. Directing, I love, not so much in Wollongong. I find a lot of people look at my work in Wollongong and think, what the fuck is that about? But a lot of people love it, and they love what I do, but they forget that, like when people went and saw, once again, Lion King, and they said, oh, that's really interesting how they mix puppets and things. No one ever does that here. And I thought, excuse me, I've done it 4 times. In Wollongong, you're only known for what you did last. I have people who say, oh, Steen doesn't like text-based things, he likes musicals, because I've done 4 musicals. But I've also directed Shakespeare and Equus. And then when people saw Equus, they thought, oh no, he just likes putting naked boys on stage because it's nude scene. Yeah, so when I do theatre that's outrageous and violent and aggressive, people think I can't do anything nice and sweet, but I also love doing, I did in a row Amphitryo, which is Roman comedy, Macbeth, Importance of Being Earnest, and Camelot. I'm not interested in one particular style, I'm interested in theatre as a whole. And so, unfortunately, in Wollongong, you tend to get labelled as being one or the other. And I refuse to do that. The first show we do at Phoenix is tragic and incredibly violent. The ending is one of the most heart-wrenching things I think I'll ever put on stage. And the show after that is complete light fluff. So people are just going to have to get used to it that you can't label me.
Is there much support available for up-and-coming performers and directors in the Illawarra?
No. There are not currently. There are companies that have favourites, won't name names, but you get runs on directors where they'll get the director who did the last show and let's put him in again. You don't find companies that will get somebody new, give them a chance, give them some training, give them some support, and let them find their own foot. They like you to produce the show that was like the last one. One of the reasons the Phoenix is being done the way it's being done is because we wanted a theatre where people could experiment and people could play with things and push boundaries.
Is there any support in Greater New South Wales?
Not much. Unfortunately, the arts are not supported very well by the state government. The last Premier to support the arts was Bob Carr. The ones since him have not really, and it started to fade off in the end of his regime. The last couple have been less, and the sort of potential premiers for the future look like they're going to do even less.
And lastly, could you recount your favourite moment in performance?
That's a hard one. Performing or directing?
Either. One of each.
Performing in Patrick Hamilton's play Rope, which is also an Alfred Hitchcock film about 2 people who murdered my character, Rupert Cadell's lover. Because not only was I playing an openly gay character that wasn't feminine or camp, but I had a scene where I had just discovered that the body of my lover was in the chest I'd been eating dinner off. And I had to work really hard at getting the emotion right. And I was very happy with the fact that the solution I had, and the director had, was that rather than yell and scream, he had a quiet moment where all the life had been sucked out of him. And there was one night when I know I just absolutely nailed the character, and I could hear what were, I was told later, rather butch, ordinary men in the audience who were crying because of the way that moment went. Because someone who was with them said they'd never seen him, or never seen those men react like that. And that's actually the last role I played where I did anything substantial. Because I figured, no, I've done it, I don't need to go any further. Directing, God, that is such a hard one. There are some moments, I think again it's a tragic moment, in Macbeth, my second Macbeth, where Lady Macbeth dies. And actually there were two moments in that play. Lady Macbeth's death scene, where the audience was a wreck, because they watched somebody slash their wrists and die on stage over the course of 3.5 minutes, and watched the life drain out of her, and I got every single element right for that. I could never have made it better. And the other one was in the same play, where Lady Macduff is murdered, and as the murderers come in to kill her, people leapt from their seats to try and stop the action on stage. You could actually see them get up, and when the lights flashed out at the end of it, you could hear people scream. And I liked that. I messed with their brains. I like fucking with people's brains. I mean, there are other moments, like there are some moments I've had in shows where I just adore it, where everything has worked, and the whole thing is mixed. Wuthering Heights, when the characters walked out of the mist and people just were sat there in awe, because it looked like these characters had materialised in pillars of smoke, because it was just good stagecraft. So, yeah, and then there was a moment in Comedy of Errors that I did where we actually had somebody came up to us afterwards and said they'd actually wet themselves. They were laughing so hard, and they had the wet patch on the pants to prove it. And so I really liked that as well, because I just thought the scene was so ridiculous. But yeah, they're the sort of moments I like.
Well, thank you for your time.
Okay.